talking about something which is called emotional intelligence. Since long, people have been talking about IQ or intelligence quotient. After some time, researchers started thinking about something that is more pervasive than IQ or intelligence quotient. They started thinking about emphasizing on why people behave the way they do. How well can a particular person understand others? How well can a particular person understand the expectation that others have from them rather than what are their expectation from others? In 1990, two very famous researchers, Meyer and Salovey, they came up with this concept of emotional intelligence. Later on, Daniel Goleman in 1995 popularized and worked more on this concept of emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? It is basically the ability to perceive one's emotion, understand how to regulate the emotion, and focus more on resolving conflict and building more effective and satisfying relationships. Daniel Goleman's model of emotional intelligence has got 5 components. What are they? Self-awareness, that is awareness about one's own emotion, awareness about others' emotions. How is one's own emotion affecting others? Third is motivation. Fourth is empathy, and fifth is communication building or social relationships. Now, what is about motivation? People who are emotionally intelligent, they are self-motivated. They don't wait for some external rewards or reinforcements which would be happening for them to perform. And many a times what happens, people who are there, in the environment surrounding them, they also feel motivated by these self-motivated individuals, and they also start creating goals. Emotionally intelligent people are self-motivated, they set goals, they have clarity on what they want to expect after reaching one goal, they set goals, they set deadlines, and so on. The next point is very important, that is empathy. People who are emotionally intelligent can understand others' perspective. What is happening with others? Why a certain person behaves or is behaving the way they are doing? And this basically helps them to effectively build or create successful relationships, satisfying relationships, both professionally as well as personally. Now, let me, bring a little more clarity about self-awareness. People who are emotionally intelligent must be aware about what they are feeling at a particular moment of time. Not only about what they are feeling, but what are the triggers that act on them. For example, I must be aware about what makes me happy, what makes me feel sad, what makes me feel disturbed or frustrating, and what makes me feel anxious, irritated, and so on. For example, if I am aware that accomplishing a series of tasks in a given period of time, in a stipulated period of time, makes me feel anxious or make me suffer from anxiety about how to accomplish those tasks within a stipulated period of time. If I am aware about that, what would I do? Whenever I know that there are a series of deadlines or tasks to be accomplished within a stipulated period of time, I must proactively manage my time. I must prioritize that what tasks are most important and what I'll be doing first, and then I create a scheduling of tasks that I would be accomplishing and the time that I fix for those tasks to be accomplished, the allocation of time. Since I know that so many tasks in a stipulated period of time make me feel anxiety, I must proactively take measures so that I don't feel so that I don't suffer from that negative emotional experience and don't create that impact upon others. I mean to say, if I am suffering from negative emotional states, people who are close to me will also be affected, because I'll be, either reacting more, I'll be rather getting more irritated on them, or I'll be sharing my helplessness and a feeling of dismay with them, which is not desirable, because that will in turn negatively affect the emotional states of others also. I'm just giving one example. So we must be identifying and we must be aware about our emotional states, which will make us regulate them. regulate them and let others feel positive when we interact with them. This is also very important, Most of the times what we do, even if we are aware about our emotion, we hardly try to understand how is our emotion impacting the ones with whom we are interacting. For example, if I want to communicate something with the person who is in front, which is not so favorable for the other person, I must be communicating what I want to communicate. Simultaneously, I must be communicating why am I saying so. If I am not happy with something the other person has done, one of my teammates have done, myself being a leader, I must be communicating why am I not happy with the other person's performance. What has made me unhappy? So this clarity basically makes the other person clearly understand my content without feeling hurt, without having negative emotions accompanied. So that is very important for an emotionally intelligent person. That means basically when we communicate, we must not communicate what are we feeling, we must also communicate why are we feeling so. Many of the times, we focus on what, but we miss on the why part. I would be very angry, I would say I'm not happy with this, I'm not accepting this is not done, I don't want to do this. But then I'm not saying why. I'm not saying that I expected a better presentation from you. I expected you to present within deadline. I expected a more structured presentation from you because I have explained so many times. But it seems that you have not basically emphasized on what I tried to explain before. And the deflection is a very average kind of a messy communication that you have prepared and with which you have come to me as a faculty, as a professor. Even this is what I communicate to my students when they come up with a very average or below average presentation on a particular topic that I have given to them, maybe on which a lot of discussions has been done before. So then I basically say that this was expected from you and this is what you have done. And that has made me feel really very upset. It is making me introspect whether there is a gap in my making you understand what I wanted to. I mean, am I lacking in clarity? It's not about your accepting, it's about my communicating. So that makes the other person understand without feeling hurt. So that is basically the difference, between someone who practices emotional intelligence and someone who is yet to practice or maybe yet to take the emotional intelligence up to a certain level. Now, a question comes, a lot of research, a lot of discussion happens on that is emotional intelligence a trait and not an ability? That means, is it an inherent trait within our personality? Can't we grow on that? Can't we develop that? The obvious answer is yes, we can. It is not only a trait, it's an ability. We can inculcate to be more emotionally intelligent. And that is basically one of the most important behavioral attributes that is expected from leaders and managers in today's world. The attitude, a very essential component of emotional intelligence, is very much a requisite for people to be present in important assignments, for people to be present in important projects and so on. Emotional intelligence is the call of the time. We all have to work on and gear up our emotional intelligence. So how can we gear up? Very simple. The first is that, we must be able to feel our emotions at a certain point of time. We must be able to identify what we are feeling. If I am not feeling happy, well, I am not feeling happy. And let me express it to the other person or to anyone for that matter that I am not feeling happy without fearing judgment. If I am not feeling happy, again the second part, as I said, why comes. That I am not feeling happy and why am I not feeling happy? What is making me disappointed? About the situation, about the environment, about the external triggers, about maybe myself also. That I am not feeling happy about a sudden trait on myself. And let me share it with someone whom I feel can be shared with. So not to fear judgment and not to conceal emotions while expressing ourselves. In that way, we can be more emotionally intelligent. Adding on why to what. That is very important. First of all, we should be understanding what are we feeling, how are we feeling, and why are we feeling. And and that we can communicate with others also if needed, without fearing judgment. The moment we say why are we feeling so, lot of clarity comes in. Lot of clarity comes into the situation, the scenario. Others also understand. We can create a more effective understanding of each other in a team where we are working, or with a group of people whom we are working, if we focus on the why part. That is very important. That becomes very important, rather. So the next part is we must practice active listening. Whenever people are conversing, we should not be over eager to speak, rather than to listen and try to understand what is being discussed, so that we can give a very informed and thoughtful deliberations. Or if there is a conflict, we can try to create a solution to the conflict. That is very important. Whenever there is a conflict, we must be able to create a solution to that conflict. That there is a conflict, there needs to be a solution. We must not add on more, we must be trying to find solution to the conflict. The next point is we must know how to communicate assertively. Being assertive is very important. It's not about being aggressive, it's about being assertive. Clearly communicate what we want to communicate and why are we communicating so, without thinking of anything else, without thinking of how will others react, how will others think, and so on. Emotionally intelligent persons always assertively communicate with lot of politeness, lot of respect, but assertively, not aggressively. People who are aggressive are mostly not emotionally intelligent. So emotional intelligence can be made to be an ability and not a trait. Whenever we talk to others, we must try to understand what is the communication, what is the content, what is the solution that is going to come, and so on. That basically, makes us be more emotionally intelligent. Whenever we negotiate with others, if we are emotionally intelligent, we must be able to clearly create expectation. These people are very good in creating relationships also, emotionally intelligent people, because they know what are the expectations of every person in a relationship. Everyone has expectation. But to know the reason, the logic behind others' emotions, others' expectation, and accordingly build up a satisfying and functional relationship. Emotionally intelligent people, they do not create dysfunctional relationship, but they create a functional one. So we all, if we try, we can become emotionally intelligent and we can make this world a better place to live. This is all about it. Thank you.